Good evening, everyone. I believe we are live. I think I've done everything correctly.
Well,
Give,
let's hope so.
give me a second. I'm gonna make sure the stream looks okay. I've got it pulled up because I'm a genius. Dude, I killed it.
Well, I have it
Absolutely
pulled up
killed it without
and
any
we'll
help
know.
whatsoever. Yeah, it's good.
Well, let's hope. There we go. We're good. We're good. Look at you, Steven.
It's like
Even
I've
though,
done this
even
before.
though you didn't auto crop the screen, so now it only shows half of our Instagram handle.
But it's not a problem because I took precautions beforehand and I put the Instagram handle in the description below the video.
Well, what you can do real quick is cursor over and right click, go to layout, auto crop, and it'll take all that away.
I'm gonna go ahead
It's
and go
literally something you can do on the fly and you'll be good to go.
auto crop. Nailed it.
Yeah.
Fucking nailed it. So what's going on, everybody? It looks like we've got a whopping 4 people watching, which one of them is me. So we have 3 people watching. We've got
And
Bob
one of them is
Shorkey.
also me.
Yeah, we got Bob Shorkey, Chest Hair Millionaire.
Yeah.
What
There you go.
bottom? Your banner at the bottom is fun. I fixed it, Robert, because I'm a genius. Thank you. So, we did something a little different this week. We didn't really plan what movie we were going to watch. We kind of just let it happen organically. I was at work one night and Heavy texted me and said, "Hey, have you seen this movie Midway?" I said, "No, I have not." He said, "Well, it's fucking amazing. Best war movie ever."
I didn't say that.
Do you want me to read it verbatim, what you said?
Yeah, sure.
I think you said, let's see. Bro, have you seen Midway? Fucking amazing movie I've ever seen. Like up there with Saving Private Ryan and 1912, which I believe 1912 was the prequel to 1917.
It was. It was
Okay.
actually, yeah, it was the precursor to World War One.
Uh,
So what you fail to realize is what you said and what I said were two different fucking things, because you said I said it was the best movie of all time, when in fact you read it verbatim and I said it is one of the best war movies. That's literally what you said
Check.
and literally what I said. So
Chat, can we clip that? Because I'm pretty sure I said you said it was one of the best war movies ever made. And
no,
that is
no.
what you said in the text.
Stand by.
Chat,
Because
can we clip that? Can we clip
because
that?
what we can do
And
is
send that to the 2 guys in the trailer Instagram account handle below.
hang on. I got it. I got it right here.
Was the prequel to 1970. I think you said, let's see. Bro, have you.
I didn't say that.
Do you want me to read it verbatim?
Okay, here we go.
Best war movie ever.
I didn't say that. Did you hear that?
I have not. I said, well, it's fucking amazing. Best war movie ever.
See? You said that I said best war movie ever. When in fact, I said one of, to which I stand by that
Hyperbole.
statement.
I was using hyperbole.
You can't use hyperbole in literal situations.
I was using it in the figurative.
If you said verbatim. So you read it verbatim.
I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Look at how good the stream looks. I'm killing it.
It does look good. It
I'm
looks very nice.
I'm a good junior member right now.
It's super crispy. So if y'all didn't understand through Steven's useless babbling that he was doing,
Jesus.
we're actually talking about the movie Midway. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's a great movie in my opinion. Probably one of the better war movies of all time. I would venture to say that's probably a correct statement. Steven doesn't think so, but then again, Steven's kind of an idiot.
Whoa. You're coming in hot.
He is an idiot.
You're coming in real hot right now.
Yeah. Yeah, because I feel like you're going to sabotage this.
I'm not going to sabotage it.
And tell me that you thought the movie sucked.
I'm not going to say it sucked. But there are some things that I did not like about this movie, and we're going to talk about them.
All right, well, let's get into it. Give us some stats.
I think we're probably gonna come out agreeing more so than disagreeing.
Okay.
So Midway, it came out in 2019, and spoiler alert, it's about the Battle of Midway, which happened in a war you may have heard of, World War II. Directed by Roland Emmerich, same guy that directed Independence Day. Which
Brilliant movie.
It stars Ed Skrein, Patrick Wilson, Luke Evans, Aaron Eckert, Nick Jonas from the Jonas Brothers, Mandy Moore, Dennis Quaid, and Woody Harrelson. And
Who
another
actually,
person that I
to be
can't
honest with
pronounce the
you,
name.
the Jonas Brother dude, that for a gay guy, that dude was a tough son of a bitch.
You can't say that, man.
What? I thought he's gay.
I don't think he's.
I mean, it
gay.
doesn't really matter either
Doesn't
way it
matter.
goes.
I mean, we did an entire series review of Mission Impossible without mentioning one time the questionable sexuality of the lead actor, and then we jump into this, and within the
Hey,
first
you
5
take
minutes,
that back.
dude,
He might be batshit crazy with the Scientology shit,
Yeah,
but he's definitely not gay.
we've definitely just offended our one Scientologist viewer. I don't
Sorry,
really care.
Robert.
And let's see. It was, I don't remember where I'm at. It's 138 minutes long, so 2 hours and 18 minutes. It had a budget of 100 million and a box office returns of 125.6 million, which I'm sure makes it a box office flop. Usually to break even, you need to make double whatever your budget was. So this came up pretty short of even breaking even. And if we look at critical reception, Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 41% positive reviews based on 159 reviews. The average rating is 5.22 out of 10. Metacritic has it as a 47 out of 100 based on 28 critics. And Cinema Score gave it an A.
We literally just lost video.
Did we really?
Hmm?
How did we lose video? Oh, you know what it is?
Hmm.
I bet I fucked up. Hold on.
No,
Let's
it's still showing the zoom. It's still showing the side by side with the square.
Yeah, hold on. I think I fixed it. Maybe I didn't.
Think.
Yeah, there it is. I fixed it. My bad, guys.
Oh, there we go.
My bad, guys. I opened up a thing, and I guess I accidentally minimized it when I opened it. Anyway, and CinemaScore gave it an A on a scale of A to F. PostTrack gave it a 4 out of 5 with 58% of the people saying they would recommend it. So it's, at best, it's got mixed reviews.
Yeah.
At best. Right? I'm going to say that's kind of being generous. I would say it's more leaning towards negative reviews, but we'll call it mixed. It's about a 50-50 split.
Yeah.
So, this was your recommendation. So, why don't you tell us how you found it and what you thought about it?
Well, I mean, how I found it, I was scrolling through HBO Go, and it popped up. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch this. And there's another movie on there that we'll talk about in a little while that I watched right behind it. And it got me because I love World War II movies. I think they're awesome. The CGI in this movie was literally second to none as far as modern day war movies go. Right? The scene in the Pearl Harbor scene in this movie was unbelievably well done. Unbelievably well done. So I like pilots. I like battleships. Like we've got a huge battleship parked in the bay in the city I grew up in that I've been on probably 100 times in my life. And I've always thought to myself, I wonder what this thing looked like in action, like full bore, yakking off guns and shit like that. So the fact that it was set around a Navy fleet in Pearl Harbor and out of Pearl Harbor in the Pacific Ocean, I was like, hell, we'll give it a try, right? So, but you're right. There are a couple of things that I was not exactly happy with. but I want to see what your negatives were, because if we have some of the same negatives, then I can't give you as much shit as I want to.
Okay, well, so there's a few things that I wasn't a huge fan of. While I agree the CGI was done really well, there was some aspects of the movie where I was like, even though I could tell the CGI was done well, I didn't necessarily buy that the thing that I was looking at was there. I don't know if you've ever had that where like for like Transformers. Those movies, the CGI is done really well, but I never really believed that those things are there. No matter how great they look, it just there's something about it. Like I don't know what it is, but subconsciously,
Yeah, because you know it's not happening.
right. And there were certain aspects of this movie where I did get that happen, which I'm not a huge fan of. It doesn't take me out of the movie, but I notice it. So it's a thing. The other thing I wasn't a huge fan of was there were so many characters that didn't need to be in this movie. Like, there was a lot of excess. Like, we talk about trim and fat in movies. I think there was a lot of fat in this movie as far as characters go. Because at the end of the day, there's really only a handful that you care about. And so the other ones kind of just feel like added on. Kind of like tacked on to pad the time.
I can see that. Now that you mention it, there is some, like the guy who's scared to death to get out on the to get out in the airplane and actually go up, and that guy, he should have never even been focused on.
Yeah, there was a couple aspects of that where it was like there were these characters, they just kept throwing characters like Aaron Eckhart's character. Like, what was the point of him being in the movie, other than to say the movie had Aaron Eckhart in it? Like, his character literally just disappears after one mission, and that you don't see him again until the ending title sequence. So like it didn't really. I mean, the thing that he did needed to happen because the movie's trying to be historically accurate, but I didn't necessarily need to see it.
But he had to be in there because it is historically accurate,
right? And I get that, but to me, again, this isn't a documentary. So for a movie based on a historical event, sometimes you do have to take a little bit of licensing to make it a better movie, right?
But how do you pay tribute to the guy who was decorated with the Navy Cross twice for his efforts in World War II? How do you pay tribute to him in something as fundamental as the Battle of Midway was? How do you pay tribute to him and not include him in a movie about one of the
so my
instances
point is,
that won him the Navy Cross?
So my point would be like, okay, there was plenty of acts that happened during this battle, right? And there were plenty of people that deserve to be honored during this battle, right? Everybody that was at that battle was willing to give up their lives, right? Like, that's a huge thing. So I don't necessarily like. That's kind of my thing. Is like you're focusing on too many characters. Like the guy that you care about is the pilot. The guy you care about the most is Dick Best, which his name, great name.
Yeah, because when he signs his name on
Best
documents,
Dick.
Best Dick.
Yeah. But like that's the guy you care about. When everything's said and done, I mean, like Dennis Quaid, he's in there and then he's not in there anymore. He gets fucking shingles or whatever he had and he's gone. And you never hear from him again. Woody Harrelson does a good job, and you kind of care about his character, and you kind of care about Patrick Wilson's character a little bit, but I don't know. This is a big thing to make a movie about, especially in 2 hours. So you kind of have to pick something and focus on it, and kind of build everything else around that. And I don't think that movie does this. I think it does more of like, these are all the things we want to cover. Let's shoehorn as many things as we can into this movie. And it kind of just feels discombobulated. It doesn't necessarily feel like it flows together. That kind of took me out of the movie a little bit.
But I kind of liked having that much information. Like,
Agreed.
by that logic, the Jonas Brothers character, he could have never even been mentioned, and you'd have been just fine without any knowledge of who the fuck he was. But the fact that he got picked up out of a survival boat by the Japanese and then spit in their face, told them to go fuck themselves, and then got plummeted to the bottom of the ocean attached to an anchor. That dude deserves it. He's a fucking gangster.
But is it really like, I mean, I get pay and respects. I do. I get that. but he's in the movie combined for maybe 10 minutes.
Maybe.
So, like, that's my point. You're not going to be able to pay tribute. Like, you're going to have to make a million different movies, right, to really fully pay tribute. So that's my point. If it's kind of like, I'm not saying they half-assed it, but that's how I feel it is, because it's like, let's just shoehorn as many characters as we can. Let's get as many of these guys, in here. Plus, I think they did it for the star power. I think that they thought that Nick Jonas being in the movie, well, that's going to sell tickets. Aaron Eckhart in the movie, that's going to sell tickets. We need more people in this movie. Dennis Quaid, that's going to sell tickets. I think that's part of the reason they did it. I really do. Because Roland Emmerich kind of does that. Like, think of Independence Day and the other movies he's done. He gets a bunch of stars and he makes a blockbuster, right? The other thing that I didn't like about this movie, and we've talked about this before too, because it was one of the only gripes I had with Warrior, but it's way worse in this movie, is the over dramatization of stuff. Like, this is a movie about World War II. Drama's already there. The stakes are already established. I don't need overly dramatic dialogue on top of that. It comes across as hokey.
But you have to.
You don't, though.
What, are they just going to stand there and fucking look at each other and jack each other off in the back of the boat?
You can have dialogue, and a lot of the movie's dialogue, I would probably say like 80% of the dialogue is just dialogue that needs to happen, which is fine. But there are those moments where it's like, men like Dick Best are the reason we're going to win this war. Like, overly hokey shit that most likely was never said in real life. Like, that is not something that somebody
people
says.
like him are the reason we won the fucking war.
Right, but let the movie show you that.
Oh my god.
I don't need to be told that. It's it's a problem I have with movies. I don't like overly dramatic shit.
Dude, they blew up fucking boats with airplanes, bro. Right. This wasn't made for you. It was made for me.
No,
it was made for the dumb dude who wants to see shit get blown up.
But you asked me why I didn't like it. I'm just giving you the things I didn't like. I'm not saying it's a terrible movie. I'm just saying there are things in this movie that I didn't like. And there's a reason why it's getting mixed reviews, right? And I think it's because there's people like me, right? And there are people like you. Probably it's about a 50-50 split. And so half of the people are like me and they're like, that movie wasn't that great. And then there are people like you, they're like, they drove a fucking plane into a destroyer. Like,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get it. But that's the things I didn't like about the movie. I didn't like the overly dramatic shit. It goes from being like a war movie to feeling like a soap opera. And it's the same shit I didn't like about the Pearl Harbor movie. It's like, why do I give a fuck about a love triangle during Pearl Harbor? Like, show me the Pearl Harbor stuff. That's what you build this movie as.
Because that's what makes it so dramatic.
Right, but for me, like,
now that you know there's a love triangle, you done pick sides. I'm going with this one. And then when that one dies, you're like, fuck, now he gets the girl.
Well, but my thing is like, the war in and of itself is the drama. Like, there's no stakes higher than a world war that led to the only use of a nuclear bomb ever. Like, the stakes are as high as they get. The drama is set.
Can we also talk about how close Tokyo came to being obliviated off the map?
Yeah, that was interesting. Like, I didn't know that. I didn't know about that.
Yeah,
so that was cool. Obviously, I mean, I know. The one thing I think this movie got really well, did really well, was the Pearl Harbor sequence, in the fact that how quickly it went from normalcy to just chaos.
To everything's fucked.
Like, there was no dramatic buildup. There was no, drums starting in the background or some ominous music. It was literally like a Bluebird day, and then shit started popping off.
Yeah.
And it went like that. And I think that was probably extremely accurate.
That scene to me is so intense.
Yeah.
Because you think about it, these guys are out there worried about, well, fuck, everybody's going on ship leave, but on shore leave, but I got to stay out here and mop the deck because I'm a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you're climbing across a rope with burnt hands trying to save your fucking life. And if you go in the water, it's full of oil, so the water is literally on fire.
Yeah.
So,
what did you think of the acting?
I think it was done well.
I think it was kind of hit or miss.
The naval intelligence guy, whatever his name is, he did a damn good job.
He did. I think that's Patrick Wilson. He
I
did a good
think
job.
I
I don't know
think
how I
Woody
felt about the lead
Harrelson.
guy.
I think Woody Harrelson would have done a better job if he and Aaron Eckhart had switched roles.
Yeah.
Because Aaron Eckhart seems more like a believable general or a commander than Woody Harrelson does. He kind of seems like a goofy fucking pilot that should be flying,
I don't know how I felt about the lead guy.
I liked him. The dude that played Dick Best,
I mean,
I couldn't tell where his accent was from. I thought he was English at the beginning.
like his accent kind of grated me a little bit. And he was kind of one of the main ones that I would say that did like a little bit of overacting.
But you got to think.
Like a little bit of overacting.
You also got to think. To choose the job of flying a fucking plane literally into gunfire, you have to be eccentric, fucking just an egotistical nightmare of a human being.
I think, I just found out why you thought he was English, because the actor is English.
Is he?
Yeah, so he probably had a little trouble with the dialect.
Yeah, he was trying to cut a fucking Texas accent and it just something came through.
The acting was really hit or miss for me. Like, it was. There was some really good acting, and then there was some where I was like, Jesus Christ. Like,
yeah.
That didn't need to happen,
Now,
it was cool seeing
Japanese
Mandy
guy.
Moore in a movie. I haven't seen her in a movie in a long time.
Yeah. Well, the Japanese guy did a great job.
He was good. He was really good. I like how they portrayed the Japanese side. Like, they didn't just make them like evil pricks.
Yeah.
It's really easy to do that. But
well, they also didn't make them out to be dummies because
they were smart.
Those guys were highly intelligent.
Yeah. And they were extremely duty driven. Like, I think it's kind of like it made me look up like the statistics of like how many people died during Pearl Harbor and how many people died at the Battle of Midway, like on each side. And it kind of pretty much evens out. So it's like, damn, these two fucking things where it's like, I mean, obviously the Battle of Midway kind of turned the tide of the war, but it's like, it's crazy. It's just a bunch of people. I don't know. It makes you think about wars. It's crazy. Yeah. It's fucking crazy. Like, I can't wrap my head around a war like that happening.
Well, and I mean, that's the thing. Like, World War II was set close enough back to where, like, in the grand scheme of things, it's more recent history, right? But if you look at it through today's scope, where we have bombs that we can attach to a fucking drone that can fly all the way to the other side of the fucking earth, drop a bomb and you'll never hear it coming, and it could level everything in 30 square miles.
Yeah.
Whereas back then, they had to drive the bomb into the middle of the fucking the war zone and drop it where it needed to be placed.
Yeah, wars like this are a thing of the past, and it's just crazy to think about like that. Remember, like in 1917, where those kids were walking across that fucking field of bodies, and it's like, dude, that's crazy to think about.
Yeah, like, shit like that will never happen again.
Never. I mean, I ain't gonna say never because crazier shit has happened, but
yeah,
I don't
with
foresee
the current
it happening.
With the current climate.
Well, I mean that, and I mean, fuck. Imagine if that'd be getting too conspiratorial, but imagine if like an EMP hit the United States and we've got to sit back to the fucking Stone Ages. Yeah, we'd be going back to war like that,
Yeah.
So it's not out of the question, but it's just it's crazy to see, and it's crazy to see people like with that sense of duty to country, like that like I'm gonna go out there and fight most likely a losing battle, and I'm probably gonna die, but god damn it, it's my job and I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, like, I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for the 250 million people back at home.
Now, Leo brought up a good point in chat. He said, "In my opinion, these movies are best done as like documentaries." Would you agree with that? Do you think that if, or even one better, do you think this movie would have been done better as like one of those like HBO series, where it's like a multi-part series? You know what I'm saying? So you could have an episode that focuses on the intro into Pearl Harbor, and then an episode that focuses on Pearl Harbor, and then an episode that focuses on the recuperation and shit, and then the Battle of Midway and the
I mean,
aftermath.
yeah, I think a doco series could have been done, but at the end of the day, then you wind up with more characters, which you see as a bad thing.
I think, but in that way, I think you have time to actually expand on the characters. So I think it's a double-edged sword. I think, yeah, you bring in more stuff, but I think it's split up to the point where you have time to focus on each character. And I think that probably would have helped one of the weaknesses of the movie. I don't know how it would have worked out. I know, like, I've seen docuseries like that are really fucking good.
Well, I've also, like I said, I've been on the USS Alabama, which is literally parked 5 miles from my backyard. And I've always wondered to myself what it would be like to see something like that in action.
Right.
You know, and this movie gave me that opportunity. Plus, and there may be 100 more movies that are like this, but I don't recall any movies that are based around the naval side of any war.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that's a side that gets overlooked because, bro, I'm telling you, had they lost that war or had they lost that battle at Midway,
we'd be speaking Japanese right now.
We'd have probably been pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
They would have never invaded US soil because they understood that, you know, there's more guns than people in this country. Even back then, and probably back then it was probably worse.
I was gonna. So you brought up that there's not many movies that focus on the naval side of battle, which is true. A movie that I would like to draw a parallel to. Have you seen Fury?
Yes, matter of fact, I just watched it the other day.
Is that the movie you were going to talk about?
No.
Oh, okay. Fury is a movie for y'all that haven't seen it that focuses like specifically on the people that were driving the tanks, and it focuses on like one specific crew. In that instance, it's able to showcase that side of war. It showcases it really well, and you have a group of characters that you care about. I think that if they had applied that same formula to this movie, I would have enjoyed it a lot more.
I thought Fury was
Fury was great.
Yeah, it was a great movie.
But do you see what I'm saying about like the fewer characters? Like you don't have to have 20 main characters, right? You can have all of that shit still going on around, and you know, you can still have they still have all of the stuff that needs to happen, and it happens around, and it happens with side characters that you don't necessarily need to be attached to, right? The plot just kind of moves forward, but you still have that core group of characters, and they're the ones you identify with.
Yeah, but you're also talking about a movie that takes place kind of in a phone booth versus one that takes place in primarily on an aircraft carrier that takes about 3,000 people just to operate.
Right. And I
mean, there's definitely going to be more people in a movie set around a naval battle.
I just think you need fewer like centric characters. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think that would have helped the movie a lot, especially.
I thought Fury was great, dude. I'd give Fury a 4.5 all day.
Oh yeah, 4.5. The only thing I don't like about Fury is that one scene where like they do the dinner or whatever.
Yeah, at the girl's house.
Yeah, that really ruins the pacing of the movie.
That did not need to be there.
But it's the similar scene that's in 1917, but in 1917 it's done so much better. Because it actually like plays out in the movie, like it gives him a sense of peace, right? And then immediately he goes back into the war and he's thinking like, what happened to that? Like I don't know, it works better. But anyway, this movie, there's been a shitload of war movies, not many that focus on naval, like you said, but you would say out of all the war movies, out of all the great war movies we have, Saving Private Ryan, like I've got some pulled up, 1917, Hacksaw Ridge, Dunkirk, Fury, American Sniper. There's been a shitload of really great war movies. Lone Survivor, it's a great war movie. Set obviously more modern times, but still. So, out of all those types of movies, you think this is in the upper echelon of war movies? Do you think that just because it focuses on an aspect of war that we don't usually see depicted?
I think it definitely, it definitely adds something that we don't normally get to see.
Yeah.
Right. It definitely adds, it adds points for giving us a side of the story we normally don't focus on. You know, most movies focus around the Army or the United States Marine Corps, and that's pretty much it. Sometimes I don't think there's ever been a movie about the Air Force.
Yeah.
Or maybe Air Force One. Would that count?
Top Gun.
Yeah, fuck Top Gun.
I believe that's a documentary about Tom Cruise's time learning to fly.
Hey, calm down, Goose. We're still looking. We're still looking for Maverick. So, I don't know. Me personally, it appeals to the dumb guy in me. It's got fucking 50 cows just lighting up the fucking sky. It's got dive bombers. It's got, torpedo bombers. It's got submarines. It's got big fucking battleships and destroyers and aircraft carriers. Call it what you want it. I'm giving it a solid 4.
Okay. I would classify it as this is like a summer blockbuster, right? With a lot of historical stuff in it, right? I'd say it's good. I don't necessarily think it's great. I think it's got too many flaws to be great for me. I'd probably say I'd give it you should probably rent it. I would say, especially if you're into history and into the older wars and stuff, and you like learning about that stuff, because there's probably some stuff in this movie that you're going to learn that you didn't know unless you're a major history buff. But I'm going to give it I'd give it a 3.5.
Okay, so I'm going to weight my score and give this one a 7.5. That way we can bring it up to a 10 that I already gave it on the sheet.
Okay. Actually, if you're going to give it a 7.5 and I'm giving it a 3.5, I believe if my calculations are correct, it's an 11 out of 10.
There you go. See, even better. I'm glad you agree with me.
Let's go. I'd say it's good. I think it definitely it falls in as the summer blockbuster.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not, you're not supposed to, which is the problem with me. You're not supposed to look at this overly analytical. You're not supposed to look at this well, how is the shot framed? Is the shot framed appropriately? That's not what you're supposed to do with these movies. You're supposed to go in, kind of turn your brain off a little bit and just watch what's happening.
Yeah.
And enjoy it. And at that, it does succeed for the most part. Except, like I said, I think the pacing suffers a little bit. There's too many characters. It's a little overly dramatic.
There's only one scene that I think they really could have done away with, and that's the USO scene where they go to the club or whatever it is.
Yeah.
They go to the ball or whatever. I think they could have done without that. But that's to me, honestly, that's about the only scene that they could have done without.
I mean, I think there was a couple. I mean, like the guy that in the attack on Pearl Harbor, the guy that is helping the kid get across or whatever, that guy, and then he jumps on the gun and he starts shooting the fucking plane. The plane falls down. Great. And then he dies. There's a whole scene where the guy goes to his wife, or the wife goes to the other wife, and they talk, and have they found him? No, they haven't found him. And then he goes from hospital to hospital looking for him, and then he finds a body.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's they're trying to be they're stakes. See, this guy cares about, this is why he wants to retaliate so bad, because he had a friend that died in that attack. But it's Do you need that 15 minutes a movie or 10 minutes or however long it is?
Mm,
No. You could just
yeah, I think
say,
it could have done without that
yeah,
too.
you could have just been like, you could have shown the guy fighting, right? To help that kid get across the rope or whatever, fighting, and then he dies, right? And then, oh, that was one of his friends. That was the guy that he went to academy with. Like, you don't need that. Like that extra
Yeah.
5-10 minutes. It just adds. It drags and it fucks up the pacing of the movie. So there's some stuff like that, but other than that, it's. I wasn't bored.
Yeah. So for shits and giggles, let's throw Fury on here. What would you give Fury?
I'd give Fury a 4.
Okay, because that's about what I would give it.
I'd give it a 4. I'd give it a 4.5 if it wasn't for that one scene.
Yeah.
Like
That takes forever. But you know what? I will say this. This is a saving grace for that scene, right? The dude who played Punisher, I don't know his fucking name. He was in Walking Dead for the first season, played Shane in The Walking Dead, and then he played Punisher. What was that guy's name?
the guy that played the Punisher
Yes.
in the Netflix
The
series,
Netflix series.
John
Yeah.
Bernenthal.
Okay. It proved to me that I fucking can't stand that son of a bitch.
Oh, he did great in that movie.
I know, but that whole fucking scene just made me, it made me even more happy that he got killed in that fucking tank.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but
that was the
nothing.
point.
Yeah, I hated that fucking guy.
Did you watch the Punisher the series?
No,
Oh, so good.
I didn't like him in, Walking Dead as Shane. I just didn't like him.
Dude, the first season of Punisher is like okay, it's good, but the second season is fucking great. Like it's great.
I started watching it and just could not get into it.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna have to send. I'll show you some of the scenes in the second series, and you'll be like, "Yep, I need to watch it." There's a scene, I think it's in the second season, where he fights. Do you remember Keith Jardine, the UFC fighter?
Yes.
They have a fight, and he's playing like a Russian guy, and they have a fight in a weight room, and he bashes his fucking head in with like a 45-pound plate. Like, bashes that shit in, and then he grabs a couple of 10-pound plates and uses them as like brass knuckles almost, basically. It's gnarly.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So the other movie that I watched
Oh, shit.
is also on HBO. It's a movie called Ad Astra.
Ad Astra. I have not seen that.
It's okay. So it's Brad Pitt.
Oh, that's the
and-
space movie.
Yes.
Okay.
I think you whatever you did, we lost a picture.
I got it back up.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why
I think-
my computer keeps doing this. I keep going to maximize one screen, and it automatically is minimizing my other screen.
So I think you would like that movie a fair amount.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's very. I've heard it's very slow paced, and it's like just a lot of really gorgeous shots.
It's really, I feel like you like those Sundancey, artistic, overly well shot movies that are like that. And it has a lot of that where it's like, it's just the shot that they get is fucking great. The conversation that they have is concise. It's to the point. I don't feel like there's any fat in the movie. Me personally, it was a good movie. I thought it was a really good movie, but it drug ass so much.
Yeah.
Like it was fucking hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait. But a lot of it was because I was watching it as a dumb guy who likes fucking dumb fucking movies, I guess.
Didn't you say like you didn't like Blade Runner 2049?
I was not a fan.
See, and that's like I think that was one of the best movies that came out that year.
Yeah.
Because I went back recently and rewatched the original Blade Runner. Dude, I stand by. I think that's probably the best thing that Harrison Ford has ever done or ever been a part of. That movie is amazing. Like that's probably one of the best science fiction movies ever made, ever in the history of ever. So, yeah. Yeah.
But I think you of all people would enjoy Ad Astra.
I'm going to check it out because I love space movies. Like, one of it's one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time is Interstellar. And I know it's not a perfect
Okay.
movie.
I mean, hey, if you like Interstellar, you'll definitely like that one.
Yeah, and I know Interstellar is not a perfect movie. It's got some shit in it that's not great, but I don't
I
know
thought
why.
Interstellar was a really good movie.
Yeah, I think that's one of my favorite movies of all time. I can watch that movie. I've probably seen that movie like 15, 20 times. I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Uh, yeah, I remember. And then you, I'll watch Ad Astra. You need to
Okay.
watch Moneyball.
Moneyball.
Yes, you need to watch Moneyball. I think that is
All right.
one of the best, like, sports centric, not really sports centric, but it's based around sports drama films. I think it's one of the best ones ever made, if not the best one ever made. It's
Mighty bold statement.
it's good, man. It's so good. It's got Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill, Philip Seymour Hoffman. It's got so many good ones. Why did Gary say go live? Don't tell me we lost. No, we're good. Uh, but yeah, so I'll watch Ad Astra, you watch Moneyball, and then we don't have anything picked out for next week. Maybe if we both like those movies, we can incorporate one of those or both of those next week.
Yeah. Either way is good with me.
Okay.
So, is that all you got?
I think so, man. You got anything else? We kind of went
Not
all
all-
over the place tonight. It was more of a,
Yeah.
but it was because we only picked one movie, and
Yeah.
we usually do like 2 or 3. So, but we only picked one. Work's been crazy right now. I haven't had that much time, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But next week should be back to normal.
Okay. Well, that's what we got. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next week. Same time, same channel. We love y'all, motherfuckers. Peace.
Later, everyone. Gotta remember how to stop this shit.
Do you know what you're doing?